All right, got an air bearing spindle update for you. I know this looks pretty similar to the last one, but the difference is this time we actually have 4 bearings in there, which you're not going to be able to see, I don't think. No, you aren't. But we have all 4 radial bearings in this time.
What about 260K?
Yeah, that's about what I thought. So we're seeing much better results with this. As you can see, pretty freaking frictionless. It's behaving real nice. Yet, you're not seeing that jiggle that we saw last time. In fact, we put an indicator on the side, and at best we're seeing 3/10 of jiggle, just with maybe like this amount of force from side to side. And keep in mind, there's no bottom thrust bearing on here. So really what we're seeing when that indicator moves is just the wobble of the shaft itself. It's not a statement on the stiffness of the radial bearings. Axial stiffness with about maybe 15 pounds or so of force, we're getting 1/10 of deflection. And again, that's under no preload. So the air cushion right now under this no preload condition where it's just gravity holding everything together is about 7/10, so it's pretty big, and still only 1/10 of deflection under 15 pounds of load, again approximate. So that's pretty promising for when we get the second thrust face on here and actually sandwich it together. It's looking like it's gonna be pretty darn stiff, but I'm pretty happy with this right now because it is solid but frictionless, and that is what the goal was. What Nick is measuring here is we're using a multimeter to see how much, if at all, we're rubbing on any of the bearings anywhere in this system. And we're measuring a resistance, which would indicate we are rubbing, but the resistance we're measuring is in the range of, as you can see, it's kind of all over the place. But on average, it's in the tens of kilo ohm range. And keep in mind, all of the materials here are relatively great conductors. Got iron, graphite, aluminum. So in order to generate a 16 kilo ohm resistance with these materials, the area with which you'd need to make contact would need to be absolutely minuscule. You could calculate it relatively easily. And I might do that later just out of curiosity.
We're up to around 90.
90 kilo ohms. So
yeah, I'm trying to make as good a contact as I can.
So we are rubbing technically, but I would venture to guess the area on which we're rubbing is on the order of very small number. Tenths at best. Square tenths, square thou maybe, is that a thing?
Square tenths.
But yeah.
We're hovering pretty stably.
As with before,
160 sometimes.
the next step is just to machine that last thrust bearing. But this is great progress from the last update, even though it looks the same. Having those 4 bearings in there really starts to give me an idea of the performance, and it's looking pretty promising. As you can see.
Just deburring it.
So yeah, that's about it. More updates eventually.